So kind of the key things here are about right here. So AJ Green is going to help off of Mitchell. Mitchell is a 38% shooter, but at the same time, he only, I think, averages like 1 or 2 attempts a game. So you might be like more open to leaving him off, especially if he hasn't shot yet in the game. So he's going to help take away this role by Hartenstein. Because if he stays on Mitchell, that means Brook has to be very wary of this roll by Hartenstein, and because of the screen, I mean that's just a direct line drive to the basket for Jalen Williams. So here, Brook Lopez is gonna show at least help until Gary Trent returns, and then here Trent tries his best to recover. Clearly, it's too late, so Jalen Williams takes a shot. You can see AJ Green over here take away this Hartenstein roll, and then that pretty much is, the action that they want. Now, if, for example, Jalen Williams was guarded better by Trent Jr., then he could swing this pass to Mitchell, and then this would be a 40% shot, and there's no way to recover because here you can see that AJ Green, I mentioned this in some of the first quarter possessions, whether you kind of dig and stunt at the roll man or fully commit. Here he fully commits to it. And then Brook Lopez, he's in drop because clearly you don't want him too close. If he's too close to, let's say, Jalen Williams, he's just going to get blown past like super easy. Like here, if Brook Lopez plays up any closer, you're going to have, this is probably what's going to happen. If he plays closer while Trent is recovering, Trent either has to then try and time his stoppage of this roll and then allow Green to run over to a three-point shooter. If Green stops this roll, which he does in this possession, and Brook plays closer, you almost kind of like blitz Jalen Williams, but then at that point he'll just pass it over to Mitchell for an open three. Alternatives are, let's say Brook Lopez shows a little bit, then he goes back to Hartenstein. Damian Lillard could also dig here and kind of show and help out on Jalen Williams, but then the issue will be that you're going to give Jalen Williams, let's say at this point, if Damian Lillard was here, he would get two options with Bobby Portis trying to guard both Cason Wallace and Isaiah Joe. So that's kind of the tough one. Damian Lillard has to stay out here, especially since if you look over here, they're trying to set some kind of action. So Isaiah Joe, 40% shooter. It looks like he's, how do I say this? He's trying to get a screen from, I think this is Wallace or, yeah, so number 22 is going to be Wallace. So Wallace sets a screen, Portis is coming around, so Dame has to be very, very aware of trying to help out on a three-point shooter for Bobby Portis. So these two are out of the picture. Just by setting a simple screen, you can remove like 40% of the defense and then allow all this action over here. Otherwise, if both of these guys just stand still, then it allows them to help out and dig on these types of actions on the strong side. So this is kind of a simple thing to do on the weak side, just to occupy two defenders. That's why it essentially is a good action by OKC to do this, just to isolate Jalen Williams on Brook Lopez, because Gary Trent Jr. is not recovering fast enough. Yeah, so you can see here, he gets that screen. Let's say he held the ball, didn't shoot it. This would have been a screen for Isaiah Joe. He would have came out probably right here. Dame would now have to show out, or Bobby Portis would have to trail him, and this is a lot more action that can occur. So it's kind of one of those things where you have a lot of options as OKC, and OKC here will just kind of take the easiest option, which is Brook Lopez in drop coverage. I'm Jalen Williams. I'll just take a midi shot. Let's see this one again. Yeah, so Jalen Williams comes in, and you can see here Hartenstein screen for Isaiah Joe. Let's say, who is this? This is I think this is Wiggins. So Dame's on Wiggins, and then Brook Lopez is making sure just to kind of show a little bit, just in case Gary Trent gets beaten off the dribble. If he gets beaten off the dribble, at least Brook is right there. Kind of like to deter the drive by Jalen Williams. So here, you can see that this is Wiggins just cutting, or yeah, Wiggins or Wallace. I can't remember. 20. I think Wallace is 22 and Wiggins is 21, so I always get them mixed up. This should be Wallace. So Wallace will do this, and you can see here they get the screen by Hartenstein. AJ Green tries to follow. Pick and roll action. So Brook has to come over. This makes sense. Everyone's doing their job. And you're going to show a little bit on Isaiah Joe just because he's not really like a off the dribble mid-range shot guy. So he's here most likely trying to create something for somebody. And so just in case, let's say, for example, he gets the drop on, or he gets the step on AJ Green, Brook's going to be here to help out. And then you can see Bobby Portis leaving his guy over here just a little bit in case, let's say, Hartenstein is going to crash hard towards the basket, right? So AJ Green gets beat. There's a backup help defense right here, and then helping the help side, essentially. And then Dame's over here making sure you try to take away this kind of like corner pass, easy pass. Trent Jr. can't really do too much in this situation because he's guarding Jalen Williams. You really don't want to leave, the all-star player. And so kind of the issue here is this is Dame trying to take away this guy, right? But the problem is Bobby Portis kind of commits too much to this. Like by the time, for example, let's say Isaiah Joe takes this and turns the corner, Bobby Portis should now just be kind of running back to his man, right? So, because in reality, what's going to happen if Isaiah Joe gets a dump off pass to Hartenstein? Hartenstein's probably like 5-10 feet away from Brook Lopez. We can be confident that Brook Lopez can turn around and at least contest the floater. So here the issue is, look, Bobby Portis is out here. Who is he guarding? Like if he's guarding Hartenstein, he's not even in alignment with Hartenstein. Also, Brook Lopez is already here, so you don't kind of need two bigs down here. And so that's why you can see, I think Ajay Mitchell is out here in the corner, and now it's kind of like two guys down here, blown coverage. And it's kind of difficult to expect Dame, who's getting pretty much like back screened by Wallace, to try and reach out. Like it's a good action based off of like mistakes by the defense. That's good defense by Green. It's kind of give and go. Yeah, let's look back at this. Like, if someone gets an open cut like that, that means there's some kind of blown coverage that occurred. So let's look. Here's a give and go action. Brook does a good job kind of on guarding Hartenstein. And you look at Bobby Portis, I think this is the big thing. They kind of tell players on defense never really to like always fully commit, or how do I phrase this? When your defender turns their back to you or turns their head to you is when you're supposed to make a move, whether that's a cut or whether that's a screen, whatever it is, because they're so focused on this side. Like in my opinion, I don't know why Bobby Portis would be fully committed to looking over like this, because Hartenstein on Brook one-on-one in the post, you'll kind of just live with it. So maybe his mind was thinking, Hartenstein's going to put up the shot, let me just get a step ahead on crashing the rebound. Because sometimes as a big, if you are contesting another big, like it's going to be hard for you to contest that and then turn around and then grab the rebound. So Bobby Portis is probably like, all right, let me go and crash the boards real quick because Hartenstein's going to shoot this. Now the problem is, as you can see here, he doesn't shoot it, and now Bobby Portis just totally loses his guy entirely. Right, so this is kind of like the problem with this. If Bobby Portis wanted to try and do a help side crash for rebounds, what he probably should have done is stand somewhere a little bit closer in the paint. Like here, Bobby Portis probably should have been like right here, right? Stand right here. That way, you know, his Hartenstein's only option is like this left hand sky hook over Brook Lopez. But if he stands right here, he can also stop this cut down the middle. Because AJ Mitchell will see Bobby Portis standing here. If he cuts, he's cutting like a very large loop outside. Otherwise, his only other cut would be like down here, but that's going to be straight in the triangle of three defenders. You're not going to be able to get much. And also, you're cutting into your own teammate. So if Bobby wanted to help out, he should be like maybe one step to the side more. Give up this open side, corner side cut. Like, yeah, you might be able to give up like a corner three, but at least the space you have to cover is much shorter than trying to cover from here to here. Yeah, so he just loses them entirely. Not much you can do there. That's just like a push and transition. Only way you could probably stop this is if Brook hustles a little bit harder to kind of beat everybody back. But then you're going to be really, like, if he does that, he's probably going to give up this open shot to Mitchell, who's a 38% shooter, so it's a gamble. And then Dame, his back's already turned, so he's already out of position. Dame also needs to kind of, on this one, at least this transition, turn around faster. Yeah, he also needs to hustle back more. Like, if he was maybe hustling just here, you don't have to hit hustle all the way over here, just here, so that he has time to turn his hip, and he can just face up guard. But this kind of lack of communication between both of these guys is kind of a poor in transition defense. Like, Brook should be hustling back, and Dame should also hustle back too. Yeah, that's just a missed shot by Jalen Williams, to be honest. Calling up the screen, and then he tried to jump the screen, and then that was pretty much it. The only way this could have happened is if Dame like jumps out further, but I think the big issue is, let's see, hopefully we can get back to it. I don't really have good rewind capabilities. Right, as you can see here, Jalen Williams did a move to his right hand, and then Gary Trent just hops. All right, he's trying to anticipate the screen. And then Isaiah Joe probably was coming over there, and then he flips the screen to the other side. And at that point, it's kind of like Gary Trent shouldn't. I don't want to say shouldn't, but I understand why he would try and jump the screen and get like a step on it. At the same time, it's already blown coverage, so the only way to make this better is if Dame comes in and prevents this drive. But then the issue is if Dame comes over and tries to prevent this drive, Gary Trent would also need to know to pick up Isaiah Joe. Otherwise, you see situations where you have two players running toward the same, let's say, ball handler, thinking that, oh, I thought you were going to do this. Oh, I thought you were going to do this. And then you end up having a 40% shooter get an open shot, which would probably be really, really bad. So I think Dame's idea here is probably just to stick to the three-point shooter and then trust that Gary Trent can at least, stay on his hip onto the drive. Now here, this is good by Portis. You can see Brook Lopez kind of like pushing Bobby, saying, I got this guy. Isaiah Hartenstein is not a perimeter threat. You are okay. So whoever is guarding this person, I think it might have been Bobby, just dig down here. Dig earlier. Like right here, meet Jalen Williams at this point, which he does. So, I mean, that's a good defense, good rotation by the Bucks to kind of help your teammates after like a blown step or blown mistake at the screen level. So Bobby Portis is right here. That's kind of just like a good help side defense. And honestly, this is both like a good defense and then a missed shot because Jalen Williams is talented enough to get a good look to get this shot to fall in.